Hi there friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Tech. My name is Alan. Today I want to talk about one of the coolest handheld weapons in all of Star Wars. In a galaxy far, far away, there are many destructive weapons that come in all different shapes and sizes. You have gigantic battle stations like the Death Star or Star Killer Base, and then more elegant but equally as dangerous lightsabers wielded by Jedi. Now, these are two very distinctively different weapons that are built for different purposes, but at their core, they both are powered by what's known as a Kyber Crystal. Kyber Crystals are semi-sentient minerals that are attuned to the Force. They form naturally underground and in caves, usually on planets that are extremely potent in the Force. Kyber Crystals were composed of both organic and inorganic materials. They were extremely durable and able to handle the temperatures and pressures found within the core of a giant star. These things were almost impossible to damage, and they were resistant to almost all types of energy. Even when a lightsaber exploded from an overloaded power grid, the Kyber Crystal usually survived and was salvageable. At the same time, no matter how much energy you put through these crystals, they would stay cool to touch until something organic actually put their hands around them, and then that would actually create a warm glow from the Kyber Crystal. It was kind of like a reaction to living beings. Now, these crystals would also call out to Force-sensitive individuals and eventually bind with them, forming a lifelong relationship. The Jedi actually have a secret temple on Elune that was built on the entrance of a Kyber Crystal cave, and they sent their Jedi younglings into the cave to find their first Kyber Crystals, which of course they would make into a lightsaber. This is one of the first trials in the journey to becoming a Jedi Knight. While in the cave, the younglings are forced to face their weaknesses and are tested by both the Kyber Crystal and the Force. This is probably one of the reasons why Jedi philosophers do believe that the Kyber Crystals are at least semi-sentient, because they are, putting these trials in front of these Jedi younglings. And perhaps that's also why these Kyber Crystals can generate so much power, because they are intelligent. Now, for most of Star Wars history, the Jedi jealously guarded Kyber Crystals. And with the help of the Republic government, they were able to keep these crystals out of the hands of private collectors, scientists, researchers, the military, corporations, and any other individual who wanted to get their hands on them. The Jedi, at least during the Clone Wars period, were kind of purist when it came to the Force and anything that was Force-related, like Kyber Crystals. They believed that invasive scientific research into the Force was perverse and could lead to dark side tendencies. They also realized that Kyber Crystals had a very unique property to them that was almost magical. They had an unmatched ability to channel energy and then actually create more energy from energy. Which means when you channel power into a Kyber Crystal, it can actually create more energy as an output, which is basically impossible if you believe in the law of conservation of energy. During the Clone Wars, Chancellor Palpatine used Republic resources to start investigating Kyber Crystals. Chancellor Palpatine, of course, was a Sith, and he was very curious about Kyber Crystals for his own reason. Being the Chancellor, he had the power to do anything he wanted. Palpatine would create a program known as Project Celestial Power, headed by director Orson Krennic, who actually was working on behalf of the Imperial Special Weapons Group. Project Celestial Power would draw some of the most talented scientists and researchers in the galaxy, including Galen Erso, one of the galaxy's top crystallographers. He had been previously working on a project to create artificial crystals which could amplify energy, which would be really helpful in outer rim areas where, there was a lot of poverty and a lack of resources. He, like many other crystallographers, had always dreamed of working on Kyber Crystals, and so when Project Celestial Power gave him the opportunity to actually work directly with these magical minerals, he dropped everything and focused all of his energy onto this project. Of course, Project Celestial Power was just the cover-up name for the Empire's future Death Star battle station. What Galen Erso worked on was the main Death Star laser. He was able to figure out how to funnel energy into 8 massive Kyber Crystals arranged in enormous housing. The energy from those 8 crystals would then form a singular beam, which had the power to destroy entire planets. This would really give the Empire a weapon that was unrivaled in power. Now, the same technology has been used in a variety of different ways. The First Order would create Starkiller Base based on this same technology, except the power source for the beam came from a star instead of just power generators. You also had the First Order Super Laser Siege Cannon, which was a miniaturized version of this weapon. But this was still a massive vehicle that was around 200 meters in length. What if I told you there was a way to miniaturize Death Star lasers to the point where you can actually carry them in your hands? Well, that's where the Jedi Lightsaber Rifle comes into play. The Ruusan Reformation, almost 1,000 years before the Clone Wars, brought in an era of unprecedented peace and stability to the galaxy. Now, from 300 BBY to 82 BBY was a period known as the High Republic era. It was considered a golden age for the galaxy and also for the Jedi Order. During this time period, the Jedi Order swelled to an enormous size, and Jedi Knights could be found in almost every corner of the galaxy, including in the Outer Rim, where they were helping expansion and exploration efforts. The Jedi at the time were a little more open-minded when it came to Kyber Crystals, and so they actually utilized Kyber-powered weapons. We don't have too much information about this time period as of now because it's still relatively new to the Disney canon. But one of the coolest weapons to come out of this era was lightsaber-powered rifles. If you broke apart these lightsaber weapons, you would find that they were quite similar to the Death Star. Of course, they're just miniaturized. The only difference is the good guys, the Jedi, are using this and not the Empire and the Sith. One of these lightsaber rifles was actually kept in the Jedi archives during the Clone Wars period. It's very possible that this weapon was locked up and deemed to be too dangerous or perverse by the more conservative Jedi Council that would take over after the Golden Age of the Jedi. Whatever the reason, head librarian Jocasta remembered exactly wwhere that weapon was. So after Order 66, while on a mission to the Jedi Temple to collect an important holocron with a list of Force-sensitive children on it, Jocasta ran afoul of the Grand Inquisitor and Darth Vader. Knowing that she was no match for either dark side warrior, she used her extensive knowledge of the archives to find the lightsaber rifle. She inserted her own lightsaber into the chamber of this energy weapon and used its powerful beam to almost cut Darth Vader in half. Vader manages to block the beam, but just barely, and he's still thrown across the room by just the pure power of this weapon. This is probably one of the most powerful handheld weapons in the entire galaxy, and it easily cuts through many layers of Durasteel and Duracrete. The only problem with this weapon is the fact that it can only be fired a few times before the lightsaber chambering the Kyber Crystal is destroyed. The lightsaber rifle is just another interesting example of what the Jedi could have done with Kyber Crystals and the Force if they were just a bit more open-minded on how to utilize these amazing things. Aside from Jocasta's lightsaber rifle, there was also another similar weapon known as the Far Killer. This belonged to the renegade Jedi Oab, the Apostate. This lightsaber-powered sniper rifle used a magnification attenuator, which allowed the user to hit targets from 100 kilometers away, which is especially useful when you live on a flat world that's shaped like a disc. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video about awesome lightsaber-powered rifles. It's one of the cooler weapons to come out of the recent Disney lore. Hopefully we see more of it very soon. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button down below so you don't miss out on the rest of our awesome content. As usual, thanks for joining us today. If you're watching this, you are Generation Tech.